I think we can all agree that we've been waiting nearly 5 years for a decent zombies experience. Cold War was released in 2020 and it was great. It delivered a pretty well-rounded experience with classic round-based maps, a strong and interesting narrative, and overall just a fun zombies experience. Then came Vanguard. Now from its launch, it most notably lacked round-based maps and they tried to replace it with like a weird hub-based experience. Overall, it just had very minimal content at launch, had a really weak story integration, and it just felt super disconnected from the already established zombies lore. And then there was last year, Modern Warfare 3, which basically just Warzone-ified everything. Now I personally played it twice, and after the second time, I figured I'd rather take a long walk off a short pier into a pool of battery acid and piranhas than play it ever again. Today though, I suspect the wait might be over. A couple of days ago, Treyarch released the first cinematic story trailer for Zombies, and today that was followed by the first gameplay trailer. So I figured I'd break down some of the more important things that we know so far about Black Ops 6 Zombies. So it's pretty obvious now that round-based is back. This is something that has been confirmed for months now, and it's arguably the most exciting returning feature of Zombies. Now on release, we're set to receive 2 round-based maps, those being Terminus and Liberty Falls. So in that cinematic trailer, we got a pretty good idea of what the story is going to be like. So it follows the events of the last game, featuring Weaver, Gray, and Carver, who have been imprisoned by Richtofen. And then it's revealed that we're being broken out 6 years later by a new character named Maya, who's actually working with Dr. Peck, which was one of the villains of Cold War. Now overall, it seems that Treyarch is really trying their best to focus on sort of providing a sense of familiarity to veteran Zombies players who've experienced classic titles of the franchise like that of Black Ops 2 and 3. Now I will say it definitely is still very similar to Cold War, but it also has a lot of returning features and qualities of older games. Now a lot of these features you'd of course expect, like your pack-a-punch and perk machines and wall buys and all that stuff, but possibly the most notable is the return of Black Ops 3's gobblegum machines. So they function very similarly to how they did in the past, being that you will be able to customize 5 different packs, each with 5 gums. This time though, instead of eating them right away as they're dispensed, you actually store them away in your inventory and you can use them whenever you'd like throughout the match. Another thing too is that all rarities are available simply by just playing, so you don't need to spend like liquid divinium or anything, so that's pretty cool. Something I've heard is that the number of side quests and like things you can participate in is being compared to Shadows of Evil, which is personally my favorite Zombies map of all time, so I'm super stoked for that. Treyarch has also said that they're focusing on making Black Ops 6's main quests more challenging than those of Cold War, which is interesting. That being said though, they did make it very clear that they do not want to discourage newer or more casual players from the game, and it's actually quite the opposite. And I say that because this year we're getting a new guided mode outside of the standard mode that literally guides you through the main quest Easter egg. So in this mode, rounds are capped and they will loop infinitely until certain steps are completed. One of the biggest new features of Black Ops 6 is obviously Omni Movement, which allows you to like sprint and dive and slide in any direction, and this is actually going to be coming to Zombies as well. Additionally, same as with multiplayer, we will also be able to heavily customize the HUD, and they specifically highlighted that we will be able to use this feature to mimic the HUD that appeared in Black Ops 3. Now, something that was revealed recently that a lot of people seem to have a problem with, including myself, was that Zombies was going to be strictly online only, meaning regardless of if you're playing solo or not, you have to be connected to the internet. Now, I knew there had to be a reason for this. I didn't think that they would just do this for no apparent reason, and I think this new feature might be the reason why. So this year, we'll have the ability to save games in progress. This means that if you're playing solo, you can quite literally save your progress, stop playing, and come back at a later time and retain all of the progress you've made in that match. Now, this also means that if you're playing with your friends, for instance, you guys have been playing for hours and you get disconnected, your internet cuts out, whatever, you can rejoin and pick up right where you left off. Now, I personally think this is a really cool feature, but I can definitely see how some people wouldn't appreciate it as much. Shifting our focus over to weapons, this year's title introduces the new zombie build system that allows you to obtain your own custom loadouts from things like wall buys and mystery boxes. Now this year we obviously also have a new wonder weapon. It's called the Beam Smasher. So this thing basically emits this like super concentrated etheric beam, and then the secondary allows you to also shoot sound waves. And then another new item is the Mutant Injection that I assume can be crafted at like a crafting table. I'm not sure, but what it does is it temporarily transforms you into a friendly mangler, allowing you to melee zombies and also use the mangler's cannon. Now, I don't know if you'll also be able to transform into other zombies too. I don't know if it's just specifically exclusive to the mangler. We'll have to see, but regardless, it seems really cool. Now, I obviously have to go over available perks. Of course, we have returning perks, which include Jug, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Stamina, PhD Flopper, Deadshot, and Elemental Pop. And then there's also a brand new perk called Melee Macchiato, which replaces the butt of your gun with like a more powerful melee punch. I think the more important part though is that the machine literally has like freaking boxing gloves. In the Terminus trailer, we also saw that you have the ability to not only swim to different portions of the map, but you can also use a tactical raft to do so as well. I believe this is probably the safer option if you want to avoid the giant freaking worm tentacle thing that lives in the water. Speaking of enemies, there's plenty of zombie variants as well, which include these nasty spider looking things, as well as parasites. Each zombies map is also said to have these like ambient encounters, so you'll find zombies maybe feasting on corpses, or body bags twitching on gurneys, or even bloated corpses suspended in amniotic fluid trying to flirt with you through their experimentation vats. Apart from that though, there are also several new traps on Terminus Island, one of which being these like tentacle traps. They deploy a bunch of tendrils that can like reach down and grab not only the zombies, but they can grab you as well. And then there's also this big cannon trap that was revealed to us a while ago. It's described to be a giant 16-inch artillery defense cannon that had been left behind after the fortification of the island in 1942, only to then be upgraded by Project Janus in an attempt to further weaponize Ethereum. It basically shoots out this huge ether beam, and the muzzle flash actually slows the movement of enemies and is also able to pull in anything in like a close proximity, including players, so you have to be a little bit careful there. So that's basically all the major things we know so far about zombies. Before I end the video though, I did want to remind you guys that I do have a Discord server, so if you'd like the chance to interact more closely with me or other members of the community, the link to it will be there for you in the description. There you'll have the opportunity to earn perks and rewards like shoutouts in my videos and even access to exclusive content only viewable by certain members of the server. Alright, I'm going to bed. Someone wake me up when it's October.